segment with Solomon Tetenate right away. Please stay tuned.
This is the pre-boarding announcement for flight 3728.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engines running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
All right, thank you very much. Solomon Tetenate is ready to bring us transport today. Solo, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Trevi Hammond.
How are you doing?
Yeah, by the grace of God, I'm doing very well. What about you?
Yeah, I'm doing very well too.
Yeah,
your voice be solid though. Anyway, Charlie, tell us what you have for us today.
All right, so it's time for transport today. Your quick guide through the roads, the skies, and the story shaping how Ghana moves. From traffic snacks to flight updates and the latest trends in transport, we bring you what you need to know before you get going. So I'm taking you through the flight schedules, and we also look at the transport, the traffic situation in town, and then some stories, as I've indicated earlier. Some stories trending in the aviation sector. So let me start with the flight schedules for today, and I'm starting with Passion Air Accra to Kumasi. Passion Air Accra to Kumasi morning schedules are 6:20 a.m., 8:50 a.m. and 11:20 a.m. 6:20 a.m., 8:50 a.m. and 11:20 a.m. Afternoon schedules are 1:50 p.m. and 4:20 p.m. 1:50 p.m. and 4:20 p.m. and then the evening schedule is at 7:20 p.m. for Passion Air Accra to Kumasi, and it takes 40 minutes to get to your destination. Accra to Takoradi, morning schedule 6:20 a.m. and then afternoon schedule 4:20 p.m. Morning schedule 6:20 a.m. and then afternoon schedule 4:20 p.m. It takes 50 minutes to get to your destination for Accra to Takoradi. Now Accra to Sunyani Passion Air has one flight available for the day at 9:10 a.m. 9:10 a.m. and it takes 1 hour to get to your destination. So when your flight takes off in Accra at 9:10 a.m., probably you get to Sunyani at 10:10 a.m. So you should take note of that and know how to schedule your day. And Accra to Wa Passion Air also has only one flight available for the day at 9:50 a.m. 9:50 a.m. and it takes 1 hour 40 minutes to get to your destination. So that's for Accra to Wa. Accra to Tamale, morning schedule 6 a.m. and then afternoon schedules are 12:20 p.m. and 4 p.m. Morning schedule 6 a.m. afternoon schedules 12:20 p.m. and 4 p.m. and it takes 1 hour 20 minutes to get to your destination. 1 hour 20 minutes to get to your destination for Accra to Tamale Passion Air. Now let's look at Africa World Airlines, how the schedules also looks like today. So Africa World Airlines Accra to Kumasi, morning schedules are 6:20 a.m., 7:20 a.m., 8:40 a.m., 9:40 a.m. and 11 a.m. I repeat, Accra to Kumasi flight schedules for Africa World Airlines are for morning are 6:20 a.m., 7:20 a.m., 8:40 a.m., 9:40 a.m. and 11 a.m. and then afternoon schedules are 1:20 p.m., 2:10 p.m. and 3:10 p.m. 1:20 p.m., 2:10 p.m. and 3:10 p.m. and then the evening schedule is at 7 p.m. It takes 40 minutes to get to your destination. Now Accra to Takoradi, Africa World Airlines morning schedule is at 7:20 a.m. and then afternoon schedules are 12 p.m. and 4 9:30 p.m. and it takes 40 minutes as well to get to your destination. Now, Accra to Tamale, Africa World Airlines morning schedules are 6:30 a.m. and 9:30 a.m. 6:30 a.m. and 9:30 a.m. Afternoon schedules are 12:30 p.m. and 3:30 p.m. 12:30 p.m. and 3:30 p.m. So these are the local flight schedules for Passion Air and then Africa World Airlines. Now let's look at the traffic situation in town. And today I'm coming to you from the Boundary Road, and I mean East Legon. Currently you could see some traffic spotted on the Boundary Road at the moment, so you should take note of that. It starts from where the Landmark Technology is located all the way to the Shakina Avenue Church, and I mean the ARS runabout to Shakina Avenue Church. There's traffic on the stretch as I speak, and that's the Boundary Road, so you should take note of that. So if you are from Medina coming to American House, maybe the alternative route will be that you use the UPS road and then join at the ARS, and then you'll be good to go. So that's the alternative for you instead of using the Boundary Road right from ARS to Shakina Church. So that's the traffic update for you around that area. Also there's traffic at where the Kampu Ghana East Legon branch is located on the Ajirigano Road. There's massive traffic on the stretch as we speak, so you should take note of that. It starts from where the Kampu Ghana East Legon branch is located all the way to where the Pistis Ghana Limited is located on the Ajirigano Road. There's massive traffic on the stretch as we speak, so you should take note of that. So that's the traffic update around East Legon. Now let's go to Jolu. There's traffic spotted at where the National Petroleum Authority is located on the Jolu Road, and that's Jolu La Paz Road. There's massive traffic on the stretch as we speak, so you should take note of that if you are at Jolu, or if you are to use the Jolu La Paz Road, you are likely to experience traffic around that area. Now on the Kumasi Highway, there's traffic at where the Melcom Achimota branch is located all the way to Achimota Old Station bus stop, so you should take note of that. At Achimota, right from the Melcom to Achimota Old Station bus stop, there's massive traffic on the stretch as we speak, so you should also take note of that if you are using the Achimota Road. So that's the traffic update for you today. Now let's look at some stories actually trending in the aviation sector today. So Africa's rising passenger air traffic will spur region's fleet to more than double by 2044. So Africa's passenger air traffic will average 6% annual growth through 2044, driven by a young population, growing middle class, rapid urbanization, and airport connectivity investment, according to Boeing. So the region's commercial airplane fleet will more than double to 1,680 airplanes over the next 2 decades to accommodate this rise in air travel, as projected in the company's 2025 commercial market outlook for Africa. So single aisle airplanes will account for 70% of the more than 1,200 new airplanes to be delivered over the next 20 years, underpinning opportunities for domestic and short-haul international network expansion. So Africa low-cost carriers are poised to capitalize on the growing demand for more routes throughout the continent and into Europe and the Middle East, offering affordable travel options that enhance connectivity and stimulate economic growth. So that is coming from Boeing. And also ASKY honored at 57th Africa General Assembly of the African Airlines Association just recently. So ASKY has been celebrated for its industry leadership and excellence, receiving 2 of the highest honors at the 57th Annual General Assembly of the African Airlines Association. So the airline was awarded the Distinguished Service Award for its role as a champion airline of the Free Route Airspace Project in Africa. So this recognition underscores ASCAI's pioneering leadership in advancing this ambitious continent-wide initiative, which is designed to enhance air traffic efficiency and connectivity. So ASCAI's commitment has been instrumental in accelerating progress toward a more integrated and seamless African airspace. So that's also good news for ASCAI, and that's all for the transport today. Thank you so much, Ni, for having me.
All right, thank you very much, Solomon Tetenate, for bringing us transport today this morning. Well, the show continues. You can still get interactive with us on our social media platforms. We're on Facebook at ZFMGH and also on YouTube at Z Multimedia. We're also on Instagram and X at ZFMGH and on TikTok at Z Multimedia as well. Please do well to engage our posts on those platforms, and we will read them for you right here on the Business Breakfast on Zed. We have up next the market trend segment with Emmanuel Boateng, who is our in-house economic analyst. And like I mentioned earlier, we are going to have a look at the inflation numbers for the month of November, and very interesting stuff in there. You may want to stick and stay as we get into that. But we'll take a quick music break, and then when we return, we will we'll get into all of that very soon right here on the Business Breakfast on Zed. Please don't go anywhere. Stick and stay. We will be right back. Christmas, you can be you can be a good Santa. Yes, you can be a good Santa. Now, Good Park, together with Father Campbell Foundation and Miracle Child Foundation, is bringing joy to street connected children and underserved youth through the Good Santa program. Yesterday, I was talking about it. Great program, great idea. Now, here's how it works. Children from these foundations have written letter to the Good Santa, sharing their Christmas wishes. So on Wednesday, December 10th, 2025, at Good Park, volunteers will read these letters and adopt a wish, making those dreams come true. Wow, what a way to celebrate your Christmas. So we invite you, our cherished listeners, this morning to join in on December 10th. You can adopt a letter, spread love, and be part of this heartwarming celebration. Let's show these children that Christmas is truly about giving, caring, and community. So follow Good Park on all social media platforms to stay updated and become a good Santa today, because every child deserves a reason to smile this season. Now, I watched a particular video just to support this particular initiative. I watched a video on Facebook or so, and I saw a young woman who is in the US studying for a PhD, and then a gentleman walks up to another woman who was sitting quite close. They are not friends, and shares a story and says that, oh, he hasn't eaten the whole day and he needs something to eat, and the woman couldn't help. And the Ghanaian woman who was eavesdropping actually walked up to the gentleman and asked the gentleman, what were you telling the woman? And the gentleman narrated his ordeal that he hasn't eaten. And then the Ghanaian woman actually told him that, oh, he has just about $20. Can he send him that amount so that he can get something to eat? And just before he did that, the man began to ask questions. Apparently, the man was looking for somebody to be a blessing to, and that woman got $5,000 $5,000 right there, just for being kind, just for being interested in another person's issue. You might not know what will come out from this particular program, but I want you to be a good Santa. So on the 10th of December, next week, Wednesday, please do well to head to Good Park. Volunteers are going to read the letters and then adopt a wish. And you can make the dreams of the children, these street children or children that are connected to the streets and underserved young people. You can be a blessing to them. And I believe that you put a smile on somebody's face, and you may not know how this will be a blessing to them. So please do well to head to Good Park next week, Wednesday, and be a part of this. All right. So thank you very much. We're going to get into our market trend segment, like I mentioned, but continue enjoying this one, and we'll be right back. Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM, your lifestyle, leisure, and business platform. We're going to get into our market trend segment, but the song in the background or that you just listened to is African Bobo by DSP Kofi Sapon featuring Celestine Donko. Right, we get into our market trend segment. Emmanuel Boateng is ready, and like I said, today we're looking at the inflation numbers. Yesterday, the Ghana Statistical Service actually released their inflation numbers for November. And very interesting, we see a sharp decline to 6.3%. And we're going to talk about that. Emmanuel is going to give us a whole presentation on that. And then if we have some questions, we post them to him. But you can join the conversation. It's a very interactive show. Send us a WhatsApp on 0544321019, 0544321019. Or you can call us on 03039566, 0303 956641, 0303-956641. Or you can join a conversation on our social media platforms. We are on Facebook at ZFMGH and on YouTube at Z Multimedia. Please drop a comment on any of our posts and we'll read them for you. Emmanuel, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. V.
How are you doing, my brother?
I'm good. I hope you are doing well too.
Yes, I'm doing very well too, by God's grace. So yesterday, somebody actually, we're having a conversation and I mentioned the inflation number inflation for November to him. And he was asking whether there was some magic this particular government was doing. And you're going to share with us exactly what is leading to all of these decline and all of that very soon. But take us through the numbers. Let's see exactly what happened in terms of our CPI for November.
Thank you very much. And I want to say good morning to all our service listeners. In fact, I have one of my colleagues apparently has been listening every single morning.
Wow.
So I want to say good morning to Joshua. Maybe I'll say it some other time in the call as well. Good morning to Joshua and all my colleagues at the University of Ghana who have been listening to us from time to time and being with us. I think that needs to be, first of all, I want to say that is no magic. There is no magic when it comes to managing economies and how economic outlook, how the economic outlook of countries particularly is. I don't think any of us can say there is a magic anywhere. So it will be very difficult for things to just happen.
Yeah.
You see, things don't just happen. It takes some effort. Someone has to do the right thing for you to see the things that you would have to see. Yeah, but more to it, I think that generally everyone is happy about what they are seeing in respect to inflation. Generally, everybody, to put it differently, Inyama Kuyi kind of thing. Yeah, things are fairly better, and the numbers that are being put out, I think generally is impressive. When you look at 6.3% inflation, when was the last time we saw something like that? I'm not sure you were sitting behind the console.
No, not at all.
I doubt you were sitting behind the console. Yeah, so you can just imagine the last time something of the sort happened. It was many
years ago.
Many years ago. And I think that what we are seeing today, or what we are about to discuss, is largely a reflection of some good work that has been done by some people. So that is more about it. But of course, specifically to the point, when we look at our numbers, when we look at our inflation numbers, I think that there is more detail in it, and maybe I want to get into the discussion. I don't know if they are projecting my slides.
Yes, it's being projected. So let me just announce to our listeners that we are live on Facebook and we are projecting some slides there. So if you may want to come to Facebook at ZFMGH and also on YouTube at Z Multimedia, and you can follow the conversation from there.
All right. So so this is just a report on what has happened to our prices generally. Now, when you look at our inflation for November, year on year, it's 6.3%. In the previous month, I think it was 8%. So when you look at it, you can see that it's down. But year on year, in November 2024, up until now, what this number is telling us that the increase in price is about 6.6%. But when you compare this to what we saw in December 2024, in terms of the year-on-year inflation, it is falling by some 17.5 percentage points. Because in December 2024, our inflation was 23.8%. When you take 6.3% out of that, you'll be left with 17.5 percentage points. So that is it. And this is the lowest inflation we've seen since we started rebasing in 2021. Very, very important for us. Now, what are the key numbers? What are the key insights from this trend? The first point worth noting is that this is the 11th consecutive month of decline. Literally, to put this differently, since January up until today, we have been on a disinflationary path. The inflation rate has just been falling. It has been falling from 23.8% so you say in December 2024, and today we are doing 6.3%. We are talking about November's inflation. When you look at the month on month, the rate of change or the rate of increase is 0.9 percentage points, and that is stable. That is good because I think in the previous month between September and October, it was a deflation. I think it was negative. But this you have seen an uptick. That is relatively stable because the fall between September and October is not as it's steep compared to what we are seeing between October and November. So 0.9% in terms of month-on-month inflation. Now, food inflation and non-food inflation, some good news. Both of them are trending in single digits, and they are all in their 6.6%. Food inflation, it used to be 9.5% in October, and then non-food used to be 6.9. It's now 6.1. If you look at food inflation, it has fallen like more than non-food inflation because it was 9.5% and it is now 6.6%. That is like a 2.9 percentage point drop. Now, when you look at the non-food, I think you only say it's about 0.8%. So you can see that food prices are falling, are coming down. Now, goods and services, that's another data that the Ghana Capital Service provides us with. You can see that was also 9.3 in October. For goods, it's now 7.3. Services, 4.6, now 3.8. Generally, when you look at everything, I think you would agree that everything is falling. Every single thing is falling.
Yeah.
I'm just praying that people will not just go and fall in love anywhere, anyhow. That generally our numbers are all falling.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's trending in the right direction. I don't know why you laugh, but it looks like it was not an attack to you. It was a general point that I was making.
Sure.
I think maybe it applies to you. That was why you were a bit concerned about it.
Please go ahead.
Anyway, I would want to move on. When we look at our trend, so I can see our trend, and I'm sure you can observe the trend.
Yes.
You know, I converted those numbers to whole numbers. And so you are not seeing 23.8 like
okay.
You see them as whole numbers. But it tells a story, and that is exactly how the curve looks like from the Ghana Statistical Service. And you will note that the slide I have done, I'm using Ghana colors: red, gold, green, black star. So that is the slide is a reflection of that. The slide is not a reflection of the party in power's colors. No, it's not. I have to give that disclaimer before anybody thinks that I'm here to promote a political party. No, I don't think so. It's not a reflection of that. Because NDC doesn't have yellow, right? So you can see that I have gold and all of that. Now, the peak we saw was in December 2024. Like I mentioned, 23.8, approximately 24%, as you can see on your screen. Today, we are talking about 6.3%.
Yeah.
Look at November, 6. That's a lot of work. To move from 23.8% and come to 6.3% is a lot of work.
That's a lot of work.
It's not easy. That is why I was saying that it's not magic. Magic does not bring your inflation down. Magic does not change the fortunes of your life. magic does not change the circumstances you live in. Magic does not move a country from high prices to stabilizing prices. No, that is not what magic does. Inflation has dropped from 23.8% in December 2024 to 6.3% in November 2025. And that has nothing to do with magic. It didn't happen by chance. I must say, as we move on in the discussion, we will see the drivers. So I must say that it is hard work that has been done by someone, some person, and in general, by all Ghanaians. We've all gone through it. Because when it was 23.8, you and I were here and we're paying for it. Now that it's stabilizing, we are still here. But of course, when you see the way it is falling, you can see that this one there, you have come from the mountain top and you are getting close to the valley. Because you see, we are almost at 5. And I said it that I project that inflation will come down further. Certainly, it is within the Bank of Ghana's target, and that is the point. So 17.5 percentage point drop decline over the period. Now, it is the 11th consecutive month of decline, and this is historic low inflation rate we have seen since 2021, I think March 2021 or so. These are the key highlights from the trend analysis. So, Nick, if you ask and when you have any clarification, you can let me know.
Sure.
And I'll shed more light on
Sure.
that. Now, let's get to our regional dynamics.
Just before that, I'm looking at the differences. We're seeing. So looking at 24 from December 2024, we saw 24% thereabout, about 24%. Because you are using the whole numbers, so we'll stick to that. And then we see it's come to, by January, it was still January 2025, earlier this year, still 24. And then we came to 23, just about 1 percentage point difference. And then come to 22, then another 1%, then 21 in April, another 1%, and then 2 in May to 18%. And then we come all the way to 4. The difference to 14, sorry, to 14. So the difference is about 4%. And then we come to 12%. So that's -2. And then another -2 in August. And then we saw -3 to September. And by September, we're doing 9% thereabout, and then October 8%, and now we are seeing 6%. And like you said, it's actually exactly what the Bank of Ghana and the Ministry of Finance actually projected towards the end of the year. So we see that from September 9% to 8% in October, and then to 6%. So that's actually a very sharp decline. I'm curious, what exactly are the main drivers? Are you going to talk about that as we move on, or you may want to touch on that? Okay, right.
Yeah, I'll talk about that. We'll come to that. And of course, I think I should have included the month-on-month. The point I'm making, the month-on-month reviews that very well.
Yes.
You would note that some are deflation, so negative, and some are just stable prices. But of course, that is the whole narrative. So we move from, I think the first time we saw a sharp decline was from 18.4 in May 2025 to 13.7. So you see the 13% I've written it as 14, and the 18.5 written it as 18. That you can see that is very steep. Between May and June, that was very steep. That was the first time we saw a steep decline.
I think it's actually what's the right word? Is it the steepest that we have seen? Essentially.
Yes, of course. Within this trend, yes, that's
month on month, right?
Yes, yes. That's the steepest that we have seen. And it just tells you how well things have been going. But of course, generally after then, you can see it's falling gradually. But if you take, say, August 2025, it was 11.5 actually. August 2025 was 11.5. It fell from 12.1 in July. And August 2025 was 11.5. Between August and September, that was also a bit steep because 11.5 to 9.4, and then 8.0, and then now we are 6.3. That has been our journey. Generally, that is the journey. That is the journey.
Right.
And I think that it's been great. It's been good so far. Now, what are the regional issues? I mean, when it comes to inflation, I mentioned that now Bank of Ghana has been doing well, giving us the regional breakdowns, what has been happening with each of the regions. Now, I want to talk about, the slide I'm showing here, so this is about contributors to the inflation number. So when we take, you see, not all regions carry the same weight. And I'm sure you agree with me on that.
Yeah.
If we have to do our inflation, no matter how high the inflation is in the northeast region, it will not carry the same weight as the Greater Accra region or the Ashanti region carries. I'm sure you get that quite well.
Yes.
Yeah. So what you see is about the top 5 regional contributors to the overall inflation. They make up 79%. They make up 79% of our inflation, 79.1% of our total inflation. That is different from the regions that recorded the highest inflation. Because I'm sure when you see this number, you may be surprised by it.
Yeah. Hello, Emmanuel. Hello. All right, I think we lost Emmanuel there. We'll try and bring him back, and then we can continue. Ima, good morning. Hey, sorry, are you back? Hello.
Yeah, hello.
All right. Yes, I can hear you now. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I got a little interruption. Yeah, so I was saying that what you see is the top 5 regional contributors to inflation, and it is different from the regions that recorded the highest inflation. Because I'm pretty sure you will be looking out for certain regions that consistently have been recording high inflation. And of course, once you're not seeing them on this slide, it doesn't mean that they didn't record high inflation. They still did. This is just to highlight the regions that contribute the most to our inflation. For which reason, when they are experiencing high inflation, then we all should be concerned. So Greater Accra region, Eastern region, Ashanti region, Central region, and Western region. I think that is fair. So when you look at their contribution, Greater Accra 25.4%, their year-on-year inflation was actually 5.6%. It's lower than the national average. When you look at Eastern region, their contribution is 17.6%, and their year-on-year inflation was 10.8%. You look at Ashanti region, their contribution is 17.1%, and their year-on-year inflation is 5%. When you look at Greater Accra and Ashanti region are trending below the national average, while Eastern region is high, 10.8, it's more than the 6.3. When you look at Central region, their contribution is 9.6%. They recorded a 6.9 percentage point inflation in November, and that is also higher than the national average. And then finally, Western region, they contribute 9.5% to our national inflation, and they recorded 8.3, which is also higher. So Eastern and Western recorded higher inflation than the national average, whereas Greater Accra, Ashanti region, and Central region recorded inflation numbers lower than the national average. But these 5 regions contribute 79% to our overall inflation. I can give you information, because I didn't include that in my slide. I can give you information on the 5 regions that recorded the highest inflation, so the top 5 high regional inflation. And they contributed 37.6% to our overall inflation. The first region, the region that recorded the highest inflation, is Northeast region, 12.2%. 12.2%. And that is, we recorded 6.3%. Okay, so that's not up to twice our inflation. Twice our inflation is 12.6%. So this is just 0.3 percentage points, 0.4 percentage points below. So 12.2% for Northeast region. Then Eastern region was second. Of course, when I mentioned it, you will note that they recorded an inflation of 10.8%. Eastern region, I don't know what is happening. Why Eastern region is recording a high inflation, because we've not seen that in a very long time. In fact, there are months where it records the least inflation. But now we are seeing Eastern region to be the second highest inflation recorder. Then Volta region, you see, my surprise keeps increasing. Why would Volta region record an inflation of 9.6%? Why would Eastern region and Volta region record high inflation? Then Western region, 8.3%.
Because, I mean, Volta region, a few months ago, we were looking at they being the lowest inflation.
Yes,
I think
Volta region, Eastern region are usually in the lowest bracket. So it's surprising. So there are things happening, and we'll mark that.
All right, sure.
We'll mark that. Then Western region, 8.3%, and then Northwest. What was that? Western North, 7.2%. So these are the top 5 regions with high inflation. Needs to be, I think there is a significant improvement, and we must acknowledge that. Look at even the top 5. Look at their range. It is 7.2 to 12.2%. In the past, with 12.2%, you could be recording the least inflation.
That's true.
And I'm trying to unmask it. So you can still find Eastern region recording 10.8% in the past. And that would make Eastern region as the region that recorded the least inflation. And so perhaps the understanding is that nothing much has changed in those regions. Nothing much has changed. Perhaps the fall in pricing in terms of how regions respond to that is not the same across all regions. It may be very quick in regions like Greater Accra region, in Ashanti region, than it may be in Central region, than it may be in the Eastern region, in the Eastern and Volta region. Because when you look at Volta of 9.6, it is a number that they have been recording in time past. To make it a bit more interesting, see, the month on month, in terms of the percentage change or the inflation, month on month, for Eastern region is 1.1%. For Volta region is 0.7%. The only region that recorded a deflation is Northeast, negative 1.5%, although they have 12.2%. So that gives you some kind of information as to what is happening in these markets entirely. So yes, our highest inflation in terms of the region that recorded it, you can see I've shown it, is 12.2% by Northeast region. It is down by 5 percentage points from October. Then the lowest inflation was recorded by Savannah region. That is actually a deflation, negative 0.02%. Savannah region.
Is that the first deflation we're seeing?
For Savannah, yes. Year on year. That is why it is quite interesting. This is not month on month, it's year on year. Savannah region, prices are falling. That is where you can say that prices are falling.
Okay.
Yeah, for the rest of them, they are increasing, but at a reduced rate.
But the question still remains: are businesses passing it down to consumers? Are people feeling it in their pockets?
They are not keeping it in their pocket. They are, but gradually, because you see, we must also answer the big question: how long does it take for this to be transmitted to the final consumer? So the transmission mechanisms of the work. So they are, but it is gradual. And so we would urge them in this discussion that they ought to pass that down to the consumers, because you know what, the consumers include you and I.
Yeah.
And if they don't do it, we will not be happy with them. In fact, we are not happy with them already. So that is it. Look at the gap from 12.2 to negative 0.02. Look at the regional gap. One is recording 12.2 and the least is recording 0.02. But yes, deflation in Savannah region, while 12.2% inflation in the Northeast region. That is what we have. A wide regional disparity across our 16 regions.
Isn't it interesting that Savannah was doing about 18% in June? I'm not too sure if I'm looking at the right document, but I don't know. Do you have the Ghana statistical document, right? I'm just trying to support that with what we have. Look at page 10. I don't know whether it's a graph or something that is there.
I've seen it.
You've seen what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
What is that telling us? So we're seeing 18%, and then it moves down, trickles down to 18% in June 2025, and then by July it was 15%. Then it gets a steep decline to 10.6 in August, and then we come down to 3.2.
October 2.5, and then November it is 0.
What is that?
It is disinflation. Because what we are seeing is month on month. It's not year on year. What we are seeing is month on month. So you can see the inflation rate falling.
So that means that it's moved down very, very fast, right?
Very, very, very fast. Faster than all
of the other ones.
Yeah, of course. The other region you can make that case for is Upper East.
Maybe we should relocate to Savannah region.
No, we don't have to relocate. We don't have to relocate to Savannah region. We don't have to at all. The other region you can make that case for is Upper East. 18.9 in June. It moves to 21.1 in July. After then, what? 15.6 in August, 10.6 in September, 5.0 in October, and 0.7 in November. You can see upper.
What does all of that? What does all of that tell us?
Mr. B, you see, so whatever you see for the month, it's a comparison between that month and the same period last year.
Okay.
So it is one thing for you to look at the month-on-month numbers and think that it means prices are falling, but no.
No, I'm confused.
It is talking about the rate of change between, say, August 2025 and August 2024.
And that is year on year or month on month?
That is year on year. Okay. So the number you will see for August is the year on year number for August.
Right.
If you want to do month on month, then you have to compare June, maybe say July 2025 and August 2025.
25, right.
So
okay.
15.0 to 10.6, then you can do the month on month today.
Okay.
You see that?
Yeah.
Right. And I think when you look at the trend, some regions are coming down in terms of the disinflation, while others are are going up. And I'm saying this because we are making a case for Volta region. Look at Volta region. In June, 13.8. July, 12.3. Look at August. They shot up to 13.6.
Yeah.
September, 11.1. October, 10.3. And then November, we have seen them at 9.6. So you can see what is also happening to some of the regions. Let me look for Eastern region because of what has happened to Eastern. Look at Eastern. You know why? You remember we were saying it was one of the least. Look at in June, it was the fourth. When you look at the list, it's the fourth.
Bottom, yes.
It was 12.2. Then in July, it moved up to 14.6. Then it fell a bit in August to 14.5, fell again to 11.1, increased a bit to 11.2, and now has fallen to 10.8. So you can see it's on the second part. But in terms of its performance relative to the other regions, it has not been doing well. How others are falling compared to the Eastern region, it's not falling well.
So it's the second highest inflation.
Exactly.
Regional inflation that we are seeing.
For November 2025 is the second highest. It only beats Northeast. Yeah, but generally that is the situation. So yes, that kind of graph or pictorial evidence that you see gives you how the regions have fared over the past 6 months, but it is year on year.
So if we're being very plain, we're saying that things would cost in Eastern region than Savannah, Greater Accra, Ashanti, and all of that. If that is, in plain language, is that what we are saying?
Yes, not necessarily, but maybe I would like to put it this way: the rate of change in prices for Eastern region has increased by 10.8%. Let us not forget these are percentages. So when you go to the Eastern region, between November 2024 and November 2025, there has been a 10.8% increase in prices.
Right.
More an easier way to put it. Compared to Savannah, where prices have fallen actually by 0.02%. So, anyone who has the Bank of Ghana, Ghana Statistical Service press release, if you want to understand the dynamics of the regional inflation for November, I think that page 19 gives you that. You will see their weights, you will see their October inflation, you will see their November inflation, you will see their year-on-year percentage change, and you will see their month-on-month percentage change as well. It's on page 19. That one is a table, so it's clearer than
right.
Yeah, that's
okay. Let's move on. I'm looking at our time, so let's move on to the other things that we.
All right. So, Nick, when it comes to items, what items are driving our inflation numbers? So at this point, I'm on food items, right? What food items are driving our numbers? Now, when we come to the top 10, but I showed 5 for each side.
Right.
So highest year-on-year inflation items. Literally, look at ginger.
As for ginger, I think ginger has been very expensive. It has experienced very highest inflation for some time now.
You've been buying ginger, eh?
No, I haven't. I've been watching. I'm looking at the numbers. Yes.
Yeah. Look at ginger, 94%. Why? Does ginger want to make an A 94%. Look at taco. I want to ask. This was the question I wanted to ask you. Well, taco. Why is the why is the price of taco increasing like that? 59.9%, almost 60%. Ginger, taco, plantain. You know, somebody will look at this and like, why is it that they are targeting the food I like best and how I prepare it? Perhaps the guy likes plantain. He prepares it with taco. And look at what is happening to him this morning. So these are the items that are driving our prices up. And these are things that I think that we have the locals, we have the potential, or we are able to produce them here in Ghana. I'm just skipping cinema because perhaps I have not been, I've not gone for a cinema in a long time. I don't know if you have. These items you are talking about, it doesn't affect all of us the same way. It affects some people more than others. I mean, that's the whole point. Look at onions. The prices of onions are increasing by 34.7%. So these are the top 5. I can add the remaining 5. So we have ginger, charcoal, plantain, cinema or cultural services, then onions. We also have avocado, pear. We have cashew, we have crab, we have snail, and then we have dark beer. These are the top 10 high inflation. We are recording the high inflation numbers. In terms of those that are contributing to the inflation, in terms of their percentage, their weight, we'll start from charcoal, then we'll come to herring, plantain, cinema, ginger, onion, cooked rice, accommodation, vegetable oil, and then yam. I agree with the accommodation. It's too expensive, especially in some parts of Accra. These are the major drivers. But that is not the end of the story. There are also some items that are actually falling. Their prices are falling. Garden eggs is one. Negative 68.8%. In Troa. In Kontomre, it's another. Negative 57%. Look at pawpaw. These are vegetables and one fruit. Tomatoes are major staple, and then okra. Of course, there are many others that I can add, like cabbage, fried fish, green pepper, grapes, and granules, all of which have experienced this deflation, year-on-year deflation. So all of them are in the negative. In fact, even granules, which is the least, is negative 24.2. Grapes, negative 27.0. These prices are falling. So these are the drivers of our inflation, of our prices. Now let's move to food and non-food inflation. Now the graph you see, the yellow trend is our food inflation, and then the green trend is our non-food inflation. When you look at the graph, one thing stands out. Our food and non-food inflation are beginning to agree somewhere. Look at November. They are almost meeting. 6.6, 6.1%. And we know that our food inflation carries a weight of 42%, and our non-food 57.3%. And interestingly, it is our non-food that trends downwards. I mean, it's below the food. In other words, the non-food costs less than the food. Food is very expensive in this country. And I think almost every single inflation number that we have analyzed have shown us that the prices of food are quite high in this country, and something must be done about it. But generally, when you look at the trend and the graph, food inflation drops faster due to a few reasons. When we move on to the next slide, I believe, okay, I didn't include that. Imported inflation. You would note that imported inflation also fell. Yeah, it fell faster than locally manufactured items. And you can understand the number of food items that we do import into this country. And the strength of our currency is also playing a role in our food price dynamics. And look at the non-food. So yes, this graph you see is consistent with the overall year-on-year inflation trend. It looks like they're all moving in the same way. Look at the graph. Although they are not the same in terms of the numbers they are at, the shapes they have taken, it seems to be the same. And I am happy that gradually food and non-food are converging. We started from a point of divergence back in November 2024, and now we can see them converging gradually around 6%, manifesting greatly in the 6.3 percentage point inflation that we have seen today. Right. So food and non-food have both fallen. Now, the key takeaways we can say is that this has been our lowest inflation since 2021 after we rebased, and is the 11th consecutive month of inflation decline. Food prices are stabilizing at 6.6%, down from 28.3 in December. Food inflation is easing. It's easing. Yeah, don't get it wrong. Food inflation is 6.6. That is different from overall inflation. That is 6.3. And in December last year, our overall inflation was 23.8, not 28.3. The 28.3 you see is for food. It has always been higher than our overall inflation. We can also see the disparities across the region. That is the third key takeaway from here. 12.2 for Northeast and then negative 0.02 for Savannah region. We are on the path to macroeconomic stability. And I have said that, I don't want to say we are already there. You see, we've dropped from 23.8 to 6.3. We are on track. We're on track for the prices that we dream of. My general recommendation is that, this is a time for you to budget well. It's for you to avoid unnecessary spending. And even more importantly, as an individual and as a household, this is a time for you to save and invest when possible, because prices are generally coming down. The excess should not be used, or your excess disposable income should not be used to buy more food or more items. Rather, invest that or save that portion of it, and so that you are able to optimize the full benefits of the lower prices. That is just one of them. For businesses, I think it's time you invest in efficiency, strengthen your supply chains, look for supply chains that deliver or supply to you at the best or most optimal price, so that you are able to, as it were, take advantage of the fall in prices. And Nitabi will kill me if I don't add this. Pass on the savings to consumers, because as prices are falling for you, they must reflect in what it means for consumers as well. For government, you've been doing some things that have brought us this far. Maintain the fiscal discipline, improve storage and transport, very, very important, because we know for some of the regions, the reason why the inflation numbers are like that is because of storage issues and transport issues. Interestingly, Volta and Eastern region are regions where I don't think it's difficult to grow something, to plant something for it to grow, to harvest something, etc., etc. And so it's interesting that the inflation numbers will be high. But usually it stems from things that they get from here to crack. And if the transport systems and costs are very high, then that cost is priced and passed on to the consumer. And subsequently, we see that in the price of goods and services that we buy from there. Yes, focus on food price stability, because if we are not able to anchor food prices down and food becomes a national security issue, I don't think that all of us will be safe here in the country. Yeah, so this has been the story. We've moved from 23.8% in December last year to 6.3% in November. And this is a good fix now. We're on the path of macroeconomic stability.
I see. So maybe more plainly, what are the main drivers behind the decline?
The main drivers behind the decline, in my opinion, is the stabilization of our currency. And that has played a key role. I was mentioning to you earlier that the way in which the currency has performed plays an important role for inflation because of our imported inflation statistics. So when you look at that, that is a major driver behind the inflation number that we have seen. Maybe not only that, I think that generally the tight monetary policy has also played a role. Our tight monetary policy. Someone will say that, that is now 18%. Yes, of course. I have said before that this 18% we are seeing, let me be plain. It has nothing to do with the 6.3% we are seeing. The 18% was when?
Just
a week ago or so,
last week,
or 4 days ago or something. Yeah. It has nothing to do with what we are seeing. Absolutely nothing. And 18% is so high. So the tight monetary policy stance, what the Bank of Ghana has been able to do, is part of the reasons why we are here. The strong CD appreciation, I think, is about 32.2% year to date. That is also very, very important. Fiscal consolidation, that has also played a key role. And look at our reserves. We spoke about that, about $11.4 billion of reserves, about 4.8 import cover, 4.8 months of import cover. That have all played a key role. So tight monetary policy stance, strong CD appreciation, fiscal consolidation, reserve buildup. All of these have been key in driving that. Of course, I would also add the harvest season may have played a role, but not as much. Yeah, but these have played key roles in driving that.
So should we see this as seasonal or structural?
I think it's a combination of both. It's a combination of both because macroeconomic stance, fiscal consolidation, reserves, etc., are structural issues. However, we must also note that the seasonal issues also play a role. I was speaking about the harvest not too long ago, so that has also played some role. So it's a mixture of two. But I must also add that, given that we are under an IMF program, that also plays a role because things are being done in a certain way. And you can see that the government has also been, as it were, particularly committed to the program, and that is also helping us to achieve what we have achieved so far.
How soon should we consumers expect some relief?
In the next month or two, things will be better. I think the transmission mechanism will be quite fast than we have seen. And mind you, we are in December, and I've said it. It's interesting that getting into December, prices are coming down, cost of borrowing is coming down. Quite an interesting story to tell. Yeah, so I think that is important.
Okay, sure. I'll let you go. But maybe based on the numbers, what are your inflation expectations for early 2026? Or still
it will come down.
Too early
not
to project?
Fast, slightly.
Okay.
It will be around 6.
So
6.0. You want me to make a determinate case?
Well, not for 2026, for December.
For December? Oh, then it's going to come down further.
Okay. Can you give like a number, a percentage?
I can't. I have not done any forecast, but
Okay.
I just know based on the data, I just know that it will trend downwards further. But I can't say that it's going to be this number. No, I can't say that. But there are a few risk items I want to highlight before we go. There are some upside risks to our inflation that we need to pay close attention to. And if our inflation will not be sustainable, those things matter. Number one is global trade volatility and supply chain disruptions. That has an implication for our economy. The strength of our city, anchored through our reserves, among other things, gold board and what have you. These are export issues. If the conditions out there are not favorable, it will impact that. And we are going to see some exchange rate reversals if the conditions change. That is the other upside risk to our inflation. If our exchange rate doesn't do well, we always see that it has an implication for our city. Maybe one of these days we'll show our exchange rate, our city dollar pattern, and our inflation pattern, and you'll see the clear relationship between the two. And then the weather, if it disrupts our food harvest and food supply issues, it will have an implication for us. Energy prices, of course. Don't forget that I think electricity is supposed to go up by, is it 15.8% next year? And water is to go up by 9.6 or so % next year. Energy prices also play a role. There are some downside risks. Inflation will get better if these things happen. If the city continues to appreciate, if we have strong monetary policy transmission, if we sustain the fiscal consolidation efforts, if our reserve adequacy is providing sufficient buffer for us, and if they are favorable harvest conditions. These are also downside risks to our inflation. They will make our inflation numbers better. So lastly, I think we have to be optimistic, but with a lot of caution. Because see, for households, our purchasing power has stabilized, and that is why I'm saying that our real incomes have improved. Wages growing beyond inflation, save the excess. Don't overspend. Don't say you have more money, so you have to overspend. For businesses, it's a favorable environment for you to expand. For the government to maintain the discipline. For investors, yes, I would have forgotten this. When we look at the T-bill rates, they have significantly fallen from peak levels as we have seen. And we have seen the Ghana Stock Exchange outperforming at about 70% year-to-date gains. So for investors, don't just look at the treasury market. Diversify your portfolio, consider the equity market as well. Look at the banking sector. Non-performing loans have fallen from 22.7 to 19.5. Strong capital adequacy ratio, we have seen that. And I think that looking at how monetary policy rate has come down, I think it's time for the banks to also support private sector growth by lending to them, expand credit to them, but do that with caution. And I think once that happens, generally what we are going to see is that the economy will begin to expand and grow. That will feed into our GDP, and that will mean that we are going to see economic growth at a certain level. Beyond that, we can begin to talk, we can start talking about economic development, the growth translating into our real life, and that will feed back into how generally our economy is doing. It's a beautiful story. It may start with inflation, but that is not all that we need to know about economy. A lot more things also matter.
All right. Okay. So, Ima, thank you very much for your time. We have to go now. Hopefully, we can continue to monitor the trends and have some further conversations in the coming days.
You're welcome.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
All right. So that was Emmanuel Boateng, our in-house economic analyst, and he joined us this morning for the market trend segment, and we spoke about the consumer price index and inflation presented by the government statistician Alassane Idrisu, doctor, PhD. So, all right. So if you missed any part of this interview, please feel free to visit our social media platforms on Facebook and on YouTube. On Facebook, we're at ZFMGH, and then on YouTube at Z Multimedia. Please, you can visit these platforms and then you can play it back. We're going to get into our roundtable discussion very soon. And like I told you today, we're talking about HIV. We're talking with a woman who was actually who has actually had a lived experience of this, and how we'll talk about quite a lot of things along those same lines. Please don't go anywhere. We'll take a quick music break, and when we return, we get into that conversation.
This is Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM.
Keep on holding on. Can't let go, cause the player gotta make it. So still pushing on, still holding on. Woke up this morning, it be good day, cause Monday breathe. Another day to fight, battling with anxiety. Baby, they need some pampers, baby mama, she for eat. To be a man now, I will struggle, no deceive. Broken so many times lately, I've been numb to the pain. I cut my index finger to see if I still the bleed. Watch how I move on my mama, this is a wicked game. When I need some answers, talk to God and listen silently. We gon' make a way, we gon' make a way. Why there seems to be no way, we gon' make a change. I did laugh so I know go cry, burning inside, hanging tight, streetwise, no suit and tie. I know they active and so long, them figure brother die. Whatever happens, that message could be immortalized. I'm drowning, it's so hard to breathe under the weather, but I be captain, so I still go keep the ship together. My country people, they suffer, them all they want to jack, but you can't replace me, make them tell you, kaki no be leather. This industry where I find myself is also a taker, but we follow on our passion and pray the Lord save us. I used to respect you, but brother, you turn to a hater. Outside noise, a silence it blowing on Jamaica. Redemption Valley on my mind, I represent for Tema. Tell the kids, do your best and surely you gon' make it. I left the past in the past and now I be dedicated. Fight through the pain, it's a blessing, you're no more complaining. But we gon' make a way, we gon' make a way. Why there seems to be no way, we gon' make a change. Keep on holding on. Can't let go, cause a player gotta make it. So still.
Hammond, and that was blessed by Wizkid featuring Damian Marley. We get into our roundtable discussion this morning, and like I told you today, we're talking about HIV. Now, just 3 days ago was the whole world marked World AIDS Day, a moment to actually reflect, to learn, and recommit to ending HIV/AIDS. And today we're continuing that conversation with a powerful story and an even more powerful voice. Joining us over the phone lines this morning is Ohima Gifty Tokono. She's a former chairperson of the Greater Accra Network of Persons Living with HIV, and she's also an HIV advocate, HIV/AIDS awareness advocate. Also, she advocates for stigma reduction in Ghana, and we'll talk about her journey, the realities of living with HIV today, and the progress Ghana has made, and what more we must do to build a compassionate and informed society. Let's get into it this morning. Ohima, good morning. Hello.
Good morning. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well. How are you too?
By grace and privilege.
We thank God so much for your life. Well, let's get into our conversation, and let's start at the beginning. Can you take us back to the moment you first learned your HIV status?
Okay.
What was that day like for you?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and I to your listeners this morning. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can hear you. It's just not quite clear, but I'm sure we'll be able to raise it. Maybe you can just get closer to your microphone.
I am closer to my microphone.
Okay. Let's go again.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, relatively better.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. You can go ahead.
Yes. Okay. So it happened in the year 2003 when I joined the Ghana National Fire Service. Can you hear me now? Is it clear?
Yes, I can.
Okay. In the year 2003, I joined the Ghana National Fire Service as a female driver. So the training was supposed to take us about 3 months. Then 2 months after the training, when we all completed our final exams, our uniforms measurements were taken. The controller and accountant general came around to take our details to enable them pay us through our individual banks. Then one day, we were informed by the then director of SET that we should all avail ourselves for blood donation to Collingwood Blood Bank. In fact, when the team came, I couldn't donate because I was having malaria and a bit of cough. So I wasn't able to donate to the bank. So I think a week later, he informed those who could not donate blood to avail themselves for sugar diabetes tests. I hope you are hearing me now.
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, please go ahead.
So, and we did avail ourselves. Our blood samples were taken. Then, I think a week later, the results came. We were all called into the administration. We were told, oh, you have diabetes, you don't have your blood, blah, 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 blah. Many things went on. So I was told I wasn't having diabetes, but I shouldn't go. So when I waited. At the end of the day, he called me back into the office. There was another officer, the former Ghana National Fire Service, who just passed, the past chief. It's called Mr. Julius something. He was then in the room with the man. And then he just threw it into my face that, Madam, you have AIDS. I said, how can you tell me I have AIDS?
The news wasn't...
I can't get it.
Sorry.
I'm not getting it.
Oyima, let me...
Come again?
Yes, I'm asking. So the news wasn't broken to you by a doctor, but the chief?
No. It was then director of study. He did that. And I said, you told me to avail myself for sugar diabetes. Why are you telling me this? In fact, and then he again told me my HB was low to 7 point something. But by then it was Easter holiday. We were going home for holidays for a week or some few days to come back. And he told me that when I go, I should look for some blood donation and blood tonic stuff to enable me boost my HB. And I thank him for that. And in fact, when I left the office, it was like I was becoming mental. I was just laughing around. I wasn't understanding anything. So for me to be sure of what he told me, when I went to the police hospital just to confirm what he told me. And when I got there, the counselor asked me why, those days, it's not common for someone to come to say he's coming to test for HIV antibodies, you understand? So when I got there, she asked me, why are you here? In fact, I lied. And she said, no, I should tell her the truth so she can help me. So I told her the whole story. And the woman got angry, entered into her inner room. She was on phone call, quarreling with somebody. And I thought maybe I have offended her, not knowing she was calling them to tell them what they are doing, what they did to me was wrong. So she came back and gave me, State House. I don't understand. They're taking me everywhere. State House. State House. I said State House. Sorry.
Hello. She has a little challenge.
Sorry. There was some hitches.
Okay, so you're fine now. We can continue.
Yes,
right,
yes.
So please go ahead.
So what happened was that she came and gave me pre-test counseling. Then the test was done, and then she came out and told me, I'm sorry. Then when the result was given, she gave me another letter telling me that. She gave me another letter that I should tell them that I should give the letter to them, honestly. So when I gave him the letter, when he gave me the letter, it was two letters. One was containing my result, and the other was instructing them not to do anything harmful to me. So in fact, out of curiosity, I opened the other letter to find out why she gave me that letter to be given. So that was why I found out that she said nothing should be done to me, that I am safe and sound. So we had I went there. I got to the training school. I presented the letter to him. In fact, when he spotted me from far. He asked me to wait. By then, my colleagues have reported for about a day. So when I entered the compound, he spotted me and came to me that I should wait here. I stood under the administration block for more than 2 hours. Whilst my colleagues were in class left. Then I came out and I asked him, so why am I standing here? What am I doing here? Whilst my colleague said I should stand there, he's working on my case. I said, you are working on my case. What have I done wrong? He said, he's working on my case. So he came back the last time. In fact, I got furious with him and he said the order from above said should go home. So order from above said I should go home on board basis. He said that is all he can say. I am a recruit, I cannot challenge him. And then immediately he instructed the instructors to make sure by 6 p.m. before 6 p.m. I left the training school. So, yeah.
Let me get something.
That is how it happened. And then I was sacked from the training school that very day.
So after, sorry.
That was the journey.
Oima, can you hear me? Hello, Oima.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you clear. All
right, great. So you're saying that after you got the news of your HIV status, you also lost your job. I mean, that you were newly recruited.
Yes. Yes.
I see.
I lost it because I couldn't pass out. I could not pass out. I tried going to the headquarters. The instructors were telling me that what happened to me was inhuman. My right has been violated. I should go to. By then, when you talk about human violation, right violation, I didn't even understand. All I knew was to fight for what is due me. So I went to the headquarters. I spoke with them. The then chief, may he so rest in peace, Mr. I've forgotten his name. So when I got there, he was also tossing me here and there. So my people passed out. So I couldn't pass out with my people. I was not able to pass out. And so that is how my career of becoming a tender driver ended.
Must be tough for you at the time. So do you think that it was simply because of your status that they asked you to go home?
Yes, when I got to the training school, in fact, I went to one of the when I went to the headquarters, I went to see one officer whose name I've forgotten and the office I've forgotten. I asked him, I want to know why I've been taken out of the training. He told me that he said you have a medical condition. Tell me the medical condition. He wasn't ready to tell me. So once I have gone already to confirm the status, I knew what they were trying to do to me.
So what was it like for you after that period, after that time, after fighting and trying to get back into the service, and you were unable to? What was it like for you?
It wasn't easy. By then, my daughter was 9 years old, and then we were not having mobile phones. All we were having was Ariba.
This was 2003.
Ariba. There was a MTN number for Ariba.
Ariba, yes, I remember Ariba.
So you will receive a call and someone comes to call you that you have a phone call.
Like a comm center kind of thing.
Comm center. So I'll go and then receive the call. And then my colleagues, my mates who said that we heard, they said you have 8. I said, oh, who told you I have 8? Then they'll mention the director of studies name that he says you have 8. That's why you were sent out of the training school. In fact, this thing was continuously. It was consistent all the time. It got to a day I just walked to my old lady and told her that, in fact, I'm not going to leave anymore. And she said, you're not going to leave. What is wrong with you? We came back from training school. You are okay. We've all accepted what has happened. I said, yes, I'm not going to leave anymore because I learned I'm having a condition who has no cure and I'm going to die. So when I die, I don't want anyone to be blamed that someone killed me or something like that. By then, I have prepared my mind. I'm going to prepare the concoction that I'll take and die so that no one calls me to tell me nonsense anymore. And in fact, I did. You
took the concoction?
I drank it, but nothing happened to me as I'm talking to you today. It is a miracle. Nothing, not even stomach ache or running tummy or anything. I was not even rushed to hospital based on anything. Up to today, I am surprised myself.
22 years on.
Happened. Come again.
I'm saying 22 years on. You are still alive
22
and
years. Yes, 22 years on. So this is what I went through in the year 2003.
So how did your diagnosis affect your outlook? How did your diagnosis affect your outlook on life, your relationships with people? So that means at the time you were married and everything. How did that affect?
No, I wasn't married.
Oh, you weren't?
I wasn't married.
Okay.
Yes. I had my child out of wedlock. I wasn't married. So, in fact, my dream was shattered. I was working in Kingdom Transport because I wanted to drive a bigger vehicle. So I started my driving from there. So my dream was to do, those days, it wasn't easy for you to see a woman driving a big truck.
True.
And I'm one person who is always adventurous. And they wanted to do things that no lady has ever done. You see, that is the type of lady I am. So the dream of becoming a fire tender driver was shattered. I had NVTI grade 1 in fashion designing. My brother, all those, if you give me scissors today, I cannot even cut anything. My dream was shattered. Everything, my dream was buried. Everything. I lost everything. So all I wanted is to just pass on. so that I will not hear anything again from anybody. That was all I was waiting for. But unfortunately, fortunately and unfortunately, what I planned couldn't work because I don't own my life.
I see. But what actually helped you accept your status and move from fear to strength? Because now you are able to talk about it and all of that. What helped you accept your status at the time?
Thank you for that question. What helped me was that one day, it got, for 4 years, I was not attending any facility because there was no medication then. So it happened that I had one day I had something. I decided to go to Kolebu to recheck, because I wasn't still believing. I was in denial. So I went to Kolebu, and then the test was conducted. I was asked to come back in 5 days' time or something like that. I've forgotten. Then later, when I got to the facility, I overheard women. Some women were talking about support groups. I said, what? Support group? Because I was dying in need of work. So I thought they were talking about work. They saw it is not work, but rather it is a support group that when you joined, you receive psychosocial counseling and others. I said, okay, how can I join? And then one lady introduced me to one guy which accepted me into the group. And when I joined the group, in my first time at the meeting, there was an organization that visited us. They are called SWA, Society for Women and AIDS in Africa, but they are in Ghana. They visited us, and the kind of education they gave that day made me have a mind, and a change of mind.
I see. So they took you through some counseling and all of that, and you began to see life differently.
It wasn't a counseling. Let me say they were giving a general education on how best you can live with the condition without you having opportunistic infection, and then how best you can also help yourself to come out of self-stigma, because it's a self-stigma that prevents you to access treatment. It's a self-stigma that prevents you to talk about your condition, and those topics were treated that day. So after the topic, in fact, I gained a bit of strength, but it wasn't that strong for me to even go out there to talk about anything. But what happened was that I started visiting them. I told myself, if my dream has been buried, then there is an opportunity for me. The opportunity is that I'm now in a condition where I can do something to help myself.
So what did you start doing at the time?
So what I started doing is that anytime I hear there is a meeting somewhere about this condition, I have to rush. I want to be there. I want to know more about the condition. I want to learn everything. That was how I started. So everywhere you see me, everywhere there is meeting, I want to be there. I want to learn more things about my condition so that no one will tell me story. Because when it happened this way, what happened is that you get the thing was that I was moving from one church to one church, taking this deliverance and anointing oil and stuff. So I told myself I knew this thing would kill me one day. So allowing myself to be built, or my capacity to be built, it made me to become a strong person. So I realized that no one can do it for me. I can do it for myself. No one will break stigma for me. I have to break my internalized stigma. So if I'm able to break my external stigma, then I can face the world. And so this is the decision I took. And in fact, it got to a time I have to be moving from Baptist to be preaching. I wasn't preaching the word of God, but I was preaching the gospel of HIV to people, because now I have the capacity, I have the knowledge. So that is how it all began.
I see. Okay, now, let's talk about stigma. You continue to mention that. And from your story you just shared with us, it's obvious that the first kind of stigma, major form of stigma that you encountered was with losing your job or being taken out of the new recruits for the National Fire Service. What other forms of stigma did you or have you faced even after that?
Yeah, the one I faced was when I came out. I'm a conductor in my church. I'm a Catholic.
Oh, okay.
I conduct the choir. I'm a chorister at the same time. I conduct a choir. So it happened that one day Ghana Aids Commission contacted some of us to, they used to use some celebrities. When they use the celebrities, they ended up saying that they were only used. So they wanted people living with the condition themselves to come out to talk to the public to know that people living with HIV are so healthy and beautiful as anybody. So I agreed to join the campaign that was called Heart to Heart. So when I joined the campaign, I realized my first teaser, that was a teaser. And my first teaser was, my name is Gifty. I'm HIV positive. I've been living with HIV for the past 8 years. That was then. And then when some people saw it from my church, whenever I go to church to take communion, people don't want to take me to take communion before them.
Oh.
They want to take the communion before I take. Because I don't know whether they were afraid that when the priest put the communion on my tank and they put it on their tank, they'll have it. So the stand that one day I went to the washroom to when I came and somebody went to ask somebody, if a person living with HIV and you also go to there to urinate, will you have infection? It was like, what is happening in this church? So I decided to talk to one of my priests, to talk to the whole church, for them to know that me living with this condition, it's not deadly, it is not harmful or transmittable to them when I'm around them. So in fact, it was terrible. It was very, very terrible. So I faced the stigma from work and I faced stigma from church. But the church understood it when I came out to tell the whole congregation what I went through and where I am today. And I might say that the level of stigma, there are not everybody who accept you, but I can say that 95% or 99% of the church members have accepted. There are people who will do it internally. They will not show it. And that is not my problem because I am living for myself. I'm not living for them.
Exactly. But why do you think stigma persists in Ghana? I mean, despite all the awareness that we've been creating.
Yeah, the awareness have been created. The initial information or education on HIV destroyed everything. Because they said no one knew, or I don't know how the information was given, that don't get closer to them. So people even think that when you eat with person living with HIV, you get. And some people perceive that you have HIV, you got it out of, promiscuity, and a whole lot of things. So you have it, and so and people don't think about the other one. And I might say that again, 29 years into 14 years, the first case we had in Ghana was 86. And Ghanaians are still stigmatized. It is because the education has gone down. If you are not aware of something, will you take precaution?
No.
Yes. So because education has gone down, people think that no. And those who even test today, knowing that they are positive, they are self-stigmatizing themselves. They will not go for the medication due to the previous or the 1986 information they had. They wouldn't. So that is why stigma is so high. People are still not understanding it. So the sensitization shouldn't be an occasional. We shouldn't be waiting for December for us to be sensitizing the public. It is totally wrong because HIV is everyday activity. It is not year. It is not annual occasion. It is every day. As I'm talking to you right now, somebody is getting infected somewhere. As I'm talking to you right now, somebody has tested positive. So it's every day. Every day. It should be every day. Preaching. It shouldn't be annual thing. That is why people still think that HIV does not exist. Somebody tests positive today and asks you, does it still exist? So you would like to go to his pastor. You want to go and take anointing oil or go and eat apple so that you have cure. Because people are still not understanding it. Some of us have come out to talk. We have sacrificed our life. But where has it ended? Where has it ended? We just need a push. Just push me a little to continue the sensitization. I'm not afraid of anybody. My face is out there. I have a family. But My family cannot fight for my stigma. I have to fight for my own stigma, and I have sacrificed myself, not me alone. We are about three. We have. He will not be angry when I mention his name. Reverend John Azuma is there, and other people are there. We have sacrificed ourselves for this nation. Use us, just use us. It has become wahala. So if you don't give the education and you want to wait every year you come and give education, people won't take you for serious. People will not understand that the condition exists. All we have to be doing is we give continuously education on HIV. That's what we have to be doing.
Right, yeah, and just to add to that, very important. I was actually following the numbers for this year, and 334,700 people in this country are currently living with HIV, and that is why I want to agree with you that a lot more education needs to be done. And the latest data also show that some 15,200 new infections and about 12,600 AIDS-related deaths were recorded in 2024. And I think that is why it is very important that we do some more education. But let's still stay. Let's continue our conversation on the stigma. Are there some subtle ways people stigmatize people living with HIV without realizing it?
Come again.
I'm asking if there are some subtle ways, some little ways that people stigmatize those with HIV without realizing it. Are there some ways like that?
I wouldn't say you can't stigmatize someone and say you did not realize that you stigmatized me or discriminated. Stigma comes before discrimination. Stigma is a tag. But treating it differently is discrimination. You understand? See, last month a guy was diagnosed in my facility. He came with a mother. In fact, they told all this country, all the churches in this country, thinking someone bewitched him. But when we realized that it was HIV, the mother was cancelled. He was cancelled. When they got to the house, what the mother did was that just to tell the entire family that their brother is living with HIV, so nobody gets closer to the guy again. Even for him to work, for him to come to facility, he needs to work. If he doesn't work, he has to beg people for money. So why must you treat your own family differently because he has HIV? It is totally wrong. So I wouldn't say that people do it unknowingly. They do it. They know what they are doing.
So what
maybe
advice?
it's the fear of unknown. Maybe it's the fear of unknown. They don't know how they will contract it from. Some people even still think that HIV is an airborne.
I see. Very, very interesting. But what advice would you give families, even workplaces and churches, like you mentioned, even religious communities generally, to create safer and more supportive spaces for people?
What they have to do is that once in a while, the church should come out. It is not about preaching the gospel alone. Those of us listening to the word of God are the same people living with the condition. They are, which we call infected. And we have people in the church, the congregation, who are affected, because once I'm infected, my family is affected. So there's once in a while, they should invite somebody who has knowledge in HIV to come and preach, to also preach the gospel of HIV to them. And to the family, they have to accept their own. If you don't accept your own, do you expect me to come and accept your own? No, I can't accept your own. Because when you stigmatize against the person, don't forget that you are an affected family. The stigma goes to you. For instance, if I'm a drunkard and somebody wants to describe me to somebody, you will say that, okay, you see that, or want to describe my daughter. You see that woman, that drunkard woman's daughter. So when it affects me, you are affected. So we should come together as a family. We should come together as family to stop that. We have to do away with stigma. If we don't do away with stigma, we will lose family members without knowing what is killing them. HIV doesn't kill. But if the person doesn't take medication and the person have what you call a multiple infection, that we call the opportunistic infection, untreated, that person can die. You see, so we shouldn't lose families because we stigmatize or discriminate against them. So families have to wake up. Go to Uganda, go to other countries and see how they embrace information on HIV will break the it affected the entire. It's the young ones that are the workforce of this country are the one getting infected. 18, 20, 22. The highest is 24. They are the one getting infected because they don't have the information. In our schools, who teaches about HIV? In our workplaces, who teaches about HIV? But we have people living with HIV among us, but we don't do anything about it. If we don't do anything about it, this HIV issue will become a wildfire, whether we like it or not. Because information keeps me abridged. If you don't give me any information, I am sorry, I'll just walk like that. If I know I walk through the street and nothing, no car hits me, won't I walk in the middle of the street? But if I know that when I walk in the middle of the street, I can be knocked out by a car or motorbike, won't I be conscious?
Be more careful. Right. Okay, please hold on for me. We just have about 17 minutes to the top of the hour. This is Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM with me, Nietzsche B. Hammond. And this morning we're talking about living with HIV. We're talking about the stigma, and also we're trying to raise some awareness just to commemorate the World AIDS Day that was celebrated a few days ago. Now, if you want to join the conversation, feel free to send me your text on WhatsApp 0544321019 0544321019. You can send me a text if you have a question or a comment you want to make. Please send me to that number. You can also send me a voice note on the same number 0544321019. You can as well call me on that same number or 0303956641 0303956641, and then I will give you the opportunity to ask your question or make your comments this morning. You can also drop a comment on our social media platforms. We are on Instagram, Facebook, and X. We're streaming live on Facebook anyway at ZFMGH and on YouTube at Z Multimedia. Please drop a comment under our live stream and we'll read them for you as well. All right. Ohima, let's continue the conversation. Still on stigma. Okay, or maybe we can move away from stigma because of our time. Let's talk about life today. What does daily life look like for someone living with HIV who is on treatment?
A daily life of someone living with HIV. Let me set myself as an example because we are different people. Hello?
Yes, I'm with you. Go ahead.
We are different. In my daily life living with HIV, I might say I don't know how to describe it, but I'll call it fantastic because I know what to do not to fall sick. I know what to do so that I will not go down with HIV-related infections or opportunistic infection. I take my medication on time. My medication is 24 hours. I take just a pill. I live the normal life like any other person lives. You understand? I don't live a life different from others. The only different life I live is that I don't drink, I don't smoke. That is a different life, but I live a normal life like any other person. Person living with HIV is not different from anybody. The only difference is that that person has some virus in him or her that she takes medication every day. But for your information, it is not only person living with HIV that take medication every day. Almost everybody is taking medication every day. So for us, we are very healthy people. We are very strong, and most of us are very knowledgeable when it comes to HIV.
That's important. So
and we don't joke with our diet because you have to take a good. We don't take different food from others, but I have to at least know what I'll take that will not give me a problem like me having cholesterol because the medication, part of the medication can increase your cholesterol. So I have to do away with those foods that will make in fact increase my cholesterol level. Right. You understand? So those are some of the things that person living with HIV, that's our, let's say the kind of
people are not living any different life from anybody. They are living a
no. We are not. Look, we are your friends, your girlfriends, your pastors, your whatever. We are everything. But because maybe the next person decided didn't tell you, you wouldn't know. Yes, we are your colleagues, we are your drivers, we are your mates, we are your everything.
Right.
Nothing shows. So it's very unfortunate I wasn't at the studio. Nothing shows on me that I'm living with it.
Right.
Not. You see, person living with HIV doesn't look different for someone who is HIV negative. There is nothing show. Nothing shows on the person.
Okay, I'm looking at our time, so let's try and touch on a few other things. So, how important is adherence to medication? Maybe there's somebody listening to us. How important is that?
It's very, very important to adhere to the medication. I call ARV Sakawa. The reason why I call it Sakawa is that it's standing or sitting somewhere in the pharmacy. Once you have accepted to swallow it, it's a commitment. You have to commit to that. You have to take it every 24 hours. You don't have to forget. Even when you forget, you have to run and go for it. That is the only way you can adhere. Because if you don't adhere to the treatment, your viral load will shoot up. And the virus can change its strain. But the virus is stubborn that when you are suppressing it, it gets to a time you are not taking your medication well. It changes its attitude. Right. So you take the medication doesn't work. Then the doctor will tell you, you're having one condition or the other. You'll be told that you're having drug resistance. Why must you have drug resistance? Take your medication correctly and consistently. Before you start the medication, you are taking through adherent counseling. So you choose your time. Nobody choose time for you. I chose my time at 7 p.m. So every 7 p.m. I take my medication. So once you chose your time, abide by that time and adhere to it. And that is where you can live a positive life. And one thing I always tell people that, look, if you take the medication correctly and consistently, you don't go on drug leave, drug holiday. Amazingly, you get to a time you can sometimes test HIV non-reactive.
Yeah.
You test non-reactive doesn't mean the virus are not there. They might maybe move to your bone marrow or a bone marrow, a brain marrow or bone marrow, and then also move to your body tissue. So when the blood is tested, nothing is found in the blood. That means you have a viral suppression. That is where the dangers are. People get non-reactive. Maybe they tested outside the facility. They don't go back to their doctor to tell them they stop taking the medication. Then different conditions troop in. And if you don't take time, you can have kidney infection, liver condition, or maybe heart attack and whatever can happen. But if you adhere to the medication, I always see ARV to be a miraculous medication because when medication that can suppress my virus to the extent that I cannot infect my husband who is HIV negative, or I'll give birth to a child who will be HIV negative. Is it not a good medication?
Yes, it is.
But I'm not, if I say it this way, I'm not saying that people should go and then get themselves infected. You shouldn't get yourself infected because it is not easy. Everyday swallowing medication. It is not pills that are plenty, but just taking a pill a day. It's also a work. You need to be committed to do that.
Committed. Right. So for someone who is afraid to test or maybe start treatment, what would you say?
Someone who is afraid to test, I might say stop being scared. Because if you are scared today, tomorrow the whole world will know who you are. But if you test today, you know you are positive, go for your medication and take, and no one knows you are suffering from anything. But if fear, some Ghanaians who said, many who time, if I don't know I'm having the HIV, I'll live a nice life. But it's a lie. That is where the virus will destroy all your immune system. Then you start having one condition or the other, and the witch comes to become wahala. You start telling the rich people that they are killing you, but they have nothing to do with you. So know your status today and then be informed. Know your HIV status, being positive or negative. It informs you. There are counselors there who will encourage you to live a negative life if you test negative. And there are counselors there who will encourage or will counsel you. If you are positive, you live your positive life. So what I'm saying is that testing is the most important thing. And those who have tested and refuse to take their medication, they are destroying their immune system. And that is why you get to AIDS stage. Today, we don't have AIDS in Ghana. But if you fail to take the medication, you usually acquire AIDS because AIDS is acquired.
Yeah. All right. Okay. I mean, I know you work closely with a lot of young people. What are some of the prevention messages that young Ghanaians need to hear today?
Come again?
I'm asking that what are some of the preventive messages that young Ghanaians need to hear today?
The preventive measures or information I'll give to the young people today is that, when it's HIV infection is by having unprotected sex with an infected person, mother to child, and then what? Using the sharp objects. Yes. Some of the sharp objects are not even relevant, but the the higher level of the infection is through having unprotected sex with an infected person. I will advise the young ones that if you are not ready for sex, stay away from it. Abstain from sex. But if you think you cannot abstain from sex, use condom. Because condom prevents you from infection, not only HIV, from other sexually transmitted infection, and again prevent you from getting pregnant. But today, what I'm seeing Ghanaian young ones is that they are not afraid of HIV, but rather they are afraid of pregnancy. They go having sex with people without knowing their status. And now I heard there's something called hookups, and they are doing all this and having sex without knowing whom they are having sex with. It's very, very dangerous. They should stay away from it. I cannot prevent any young one not to have sex. But if you want to have sex, make sure you protect yourself. It's very, very important. Protecting your sex will not harm you. But allowing yourself to be infected comes with a whole lot of responsibility. You understand? So that is the little information I can give to you. If you know you are sexually active, you have had HIV, sex, unprotected sex once, even once, try and get tested. If you get tested and you are infected, we are there to support you. We don't have money to support you, but we are there to support you psychosocially so that you can live a positive life. But I am not saying they should get themselves infected. They should stay away from infection because it is not healthy.
Right. Okay. So I'm sure maybe one of the reasons why people still go ahead and have unprotected sex is because they don't understand the risk of HIV. Would you want to talk to people like that?
Yeah, they don't. Okay. You see, I don't know whether they don't know the risks of HIV. Please, what about pregnancy? What about pregnancy that you are not ready for? Because if you're not ready for pregnancy and you get pregnant, the responsibility is also high. So all I will say is that they should look. Now today, the young ones can Google and then find out anything that they want to know.
Yeah.
So they should Google. They have the phone. It shouldn't be hello, just that. They should Google and find out things that can help them. Because if they don't find out things that can help them, they are the workforce of this country. I will be 52 years next year.
Wow.
Next year, January. But I look so strong. But can that adolescent comport his or herself to live a healthy life like I'm living? No. That is why you have to tell yourself that I will not get myself infected. Because the infection is out there waiting for anybody. It's like a lion looking for anyone to devour. If you go there, it will catch you. Right. Now, I'll tell you, it will catch you right now. So you have to do everything possible. Even if the education is not there, find out education yourself. Educate yourself. That is what I can tell the young ones of today.
Okay, all right. So we will wrap up here. But you mentioned there are certain support groups and all of that. Maybe you may want to put out contacts or let us know how people can get in touch with any of these support groups. And then if you also can, you can put out your number just in case somebody needs some kinds of counseling. If you may, they can reach out to you.
Okay. No problem. I can give out my contact. Since I did not ask permission from those people, I cannot give their contact out. Okay. But if I give my contact, I can link them.
All right.
My number is 0244 49 6016. 0244 49 6016.
All right. 0244 49 6016. All right.
Yes,
thank you very much. Ohima, thank you so much for your time and thanks for sharing your courage, your story, and your advocacy with us this morning. Are there is there any final thing you want to say that we haven't touched on? Hello? All right, I want to believe that Ohima has dropped off the call. But her name is Ohima Gifty Tokonu. She's a former chairperson of the Accra Network of Persons Living with HIV. And she joined us this morning for our conversation. Her journey reminds us that HIV is not a death sentence because 2003 till now, she's still alive and kicking. All she's doing is that she's taking her drugs and she's making sure that she's taking to the medication. So it's not a death sentence, like I just said, and that stigma has no place in our communities. That is what we want to get to. Anybody living with HIV is not somebody that you have to put a tag on or anything. Make sure we live together with all of the people. And one of the very important things she talked about is the prevention, which I think is also very, very, very important. Young people, we need to protect ourselves. We need to abstain from sex if we can. And I believe that over time we're going to or make some progress in terms of our lives and do all the amazing things we want to do. So this has been a special conversation